The simple answer is yes. Our way of living depends on the definition of everything, and without defining something, or if something has no definition, it doesn't exist. We need to define things in order for those things to have any purpose whatsoever, and in order to define those things, there needs to be an opposite of it. For example, children grow up in part by learning opposites. The opposite of on is off, the opposite of black is white, the opposite of stop is go. What would on or white be without their opposites on and off? Every object or idea needs a frame of reference in order to be defined. People describe good as being the absence of evil and evil being the absence of good. So even though the certain act of good or evil can be placed on a scale given how good or how evil the act is, there could be no good or no evil without there being opposites, because it wouldn't have a definition. So in order to define something, there absolutely needs to be an opposite, otherwise it doesn't exist, or we just don't know how to handle it. In most cases, a superhuman is driven across the threshold by a traumatic event. For example, Spider-Man, his uncle was murdered, and Spider-Man wants to seek justice and vengeance on the person that killed him. Batman, another example, is driven by the death of his parents. However, a traumatic event is not needed to become a superhuman physically. Any person with a lot of money could turn themselves into Batman. However, it can be said that a traumatic event is needed for a superhuman to act. In the cases of Batman and Spider-Man, they do not exist until something bad happens, otherwise they are just Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker. In many instances, vengeance is the only reason to cross the threshold. For example, the bride in Kill Bill. She would not cross the threshold if she didn't have a reason to seek vengeance. However, this will depend on the justification of the vengeance. If someone crosses the threshold by seeking vengeance because someone stubbed them in the toe, it would not be a good reason. So, in order for vengeance to be a good reason to cross the threshold, it has to be justified. In some cases, yes. If a superhuman has defined their life by reaching an ultimate goal, they will have a void in their life after that goal is completed, because what do they have to define themselves by? However, some superhumans may have an ultimate goal that interrupted their life. For example, Spider-Man, his uncle died. That interrupted his life, and his ultimate goal became the vengeance of the guy that killed his uncle. But after they complete that goal, they might consider themselves back at peace and able to live life normally again. But some others, if they're not stable, then if they didn't have anything to define their lives around before that, they will have a void in their life and they won't be able to deal with it. Vengeance should never be an ultimate goal. The reason behind vengeance can be, however, as long as that reason is justified in good cause, as in Kill Bill. When the act of vengeance is the ultimate goal, people become too passionate about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it that they forget about the other things in life, or why they're seeking vengeance in the first place. If people commit an act of vengeance without justifying it beforehand, they begin to crack. This is one reason why many criminals are caught. They stop acting normally and people become suspicious and begin to question them. After a superhuman completes his or her initial goal, he or she may have a feeling of completeness. After that, they may go on to fighting crime and making peace, or they may give up the idea of being superhuman and try to live a normal life again. If the superhuman has defined their life around the goal, however, they will essentially turn into nothing when that goal is completed. They'll have nothing to define themselves with. Take two.
Alright, question 14, take two.
What happens to a superhuman once their initial goal is completed? Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker have a normal life by disguising themselves when they aren't Batman or Spider-Man. If a superhuman like them makes their face known to the general public, it would be very hard to live a normal life because people may admire the superhuman or be afraid of them. Wherever they go, they would be known. Spider-Man started to be hated after he damaged some property, and if he wasn't able to hide as Peter Parker, he wouldn't have been able to hide from the angry public. So, since Peter Parker and Bruce Wayne are essentially two different people, a normal life would not be possible for the superhuman part of them because they are so widely known. It would be similar to a famous celebrity trying to shop at the local Walmart without someone trying to get their autograph.